So I have a slightly different perspective on the resourcing and skills.
Of course, Malanga, you would.
Partly because I agree with you in terms of there's a lot of human resource and willingness to change. But this freight train of climate change that is hitting us is so significant that the numbers become really large. I mean, there are estimates, for example, UNCTAD came out with a report, I think a couple of days ago, saying on average it's about on a global level to developing countries need about $1.5 trillion a year to address climate change. So these are not insignificant numbers. I mean, at a global level, though, it's say 1% of global GDP or something like that. So rich countries can contribute towards this. But this is what, next week, actually on Friday, I'm flying to Azerbaijan for the climate conference. And it's climate COP29. So for 29 years, we've been negotiating globally around this. And at this COP, one of the things that's being discussed is money for climate from developed countries to developing countries. It's called the New Collective Quantified Goal, like a very long, complicated acronym. But essentially, the financing that needs to come from the countries that are historically and currently responsible for climate to support developing countries who are not able to adapt. Because if you look at a map of science, where science has said where's climate impacting, it's across the world. Every country is affected, as we've seen, whether it's wildfires in Spain or drought in Australia, floods that we've had here, right? Everyone's affected. But that ability to adapt is due to many different things, but money is a big part of it, right? I mean, you can even see it. I'm making a generalization here, but I'm assuming most people in this room, for example, have houses or can invest in houses that will not be affected when there's a big storm. Or if there's a big storm coming, can get in a car and get to a safe place, right? If you don't have that, impossible, you'll be impacted. Or if you have access to seed, for example, as a farmer that is slightly drought resistant, there's a cost to that often. If you're a subsistence farmer and you don't have access to that, how are you supposed to respond? So I do think that there's a significant financing gap as well, and in some instances, technology gap even, because some of these new technologies that are coming out, there's intellectual property attached to them. Countries, we've seen the trade wars between China and the US and saying, well, you can't have access to this part of the technology because it can become very complicated and people get left out. Certain companies get left out, certain countries get left out, and that's part of the problem I think we need to address. So we're partly there, heading in the right direction, but I think there's still a big gap.